Welcome to Doghouse Sports, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Grande, formerly known as Big Joe from the Doghouse. Of course, the street guy, the one that you got to slap hands with, the one that you've seen all over the towns, up and down the streets. And of course, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the one and the only Elvis Medina, a.k.a. Daniel Franklin Lane, 561.
Hey, stop it. Don't get
967.
And none of that's true. And I don't know what that name is that he threw out there. All I know, Joe, is there is something wrong with your green screen, bro. I mean, what the hell is going on?
It is terrible. Jeez.
And it's Doghouse Sports. Derrick Deese, of course, Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers, also worked at Fox Sports, Clear Channel, iHeartMedia in Los Angeles. And all bullshit aside, of course, Elvis, Doghouse Radio with JV in San Francisco, New York, former announcer for the XFL and San Francisco Demons.
The XFL.
He's also a highly sought-after voiceover artist. And, of course, you can catch me on Cannabis Talk 101 with my partner, Blue. Of course, we are the world's #1 source for everything cannabis. So
I hope the screen is better than it is right now.
Wow, yeah. Oh, by the way, let's mention our producer, Danny, also. Danny Diaz. I want to mention Danny. Danny.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Well, no, go ahead, please. I mean, Danny has been a great asset.
I want to mention our producer. Yeah.
He's not only that, he's done some great job with the video.
He's an ass, all right.
I mean, you know.
Who is he ever? Danny is one of the hardest workers I have met. And if you need video work, if you need YouTube hosting, any of that, Danny Diaz, he's the guy. So I'll when we post this, I'll go ahead and give out his information as well. And I think,
and not only that, his desk is real short because he's about 4'6", and it means, but he has the real high Skechers shoes, so he's a cool dude.
Yeah,
like his desk is a lower.
They're high heels.
Yeah.
And if you need a trash set, just call Joe Grande.
I mean, you know what, you guys? It is Doghouse Sports. It is what we do. Come on. We like to talk shit. We like to have fun. This is what we do. For those who have known us for years, Derrick and I and Elvis actually met at a Nissan dealership right when he was starting in the NFL. So, you know, we've been friends forever. When his career started, our career started, and Elvis and I started playing tennis on the streets by Great America as when we hit it off with this.
Tell him that story, Joe, because I was. This is
it's just
when we first met.
Yeah, and it's funny because Elvis comes out. I'm working at Hot 97.7 as an intern, and we're doing something for whatever collecting for whatever event, right?
Cans or something, something.
Pick the random event that we're out there collecting something for, and I'm in my orange truck, you guys. And I don't know, Derrick, if you remember this truck that I used to have. But, dog, it was the craziest beat-up Caltrans truck with the rack on the top. I had to
belching smoke.
Just hood rat Joe over here at his finest. And Elvis comes walking up the train, right, in his fucking Dockers with his tucked in, and he had one of those, like, seaweed belts on with his hairdo coming over with a Dunkaroo, and he's walking, smoking a little pin, like paper, like a gum cigarette, blowing out the smoke.
He's not. Now you're making stuff up. But we played tennis out there, and that's when we first vibed.
Well, that part didn't happen, but yes. And then we're out there hanging out, and it was literally like one of the first times we hung out when he knew who I was, because it wasn't the nightclub, and he was just asking me for drugs. So he didn't know because I didn't have my bouncer shirt on.
You were the dealer. You were the best dealer in town.
But it's literally how we met our relationship, having sports and doing that. So there's so much history of us in sports, and of course, Derrick Deese being a USC vet and a Super Bowl champion. You can follow him on Twitter at Derrick_Deese. Elvis is at Radio Elvis, and you can catch me all over social media at Joe Grande 52. And thank you guys for checking us out on Doghouse Sports. NFL Combine, you guys. Let's talk about that. Dog Horse Sports.
Hold on. Let's mention our sponsor real quick. Smart Tab POS. If you've got a bar, restaurant, nightclub, and you want to generate more revenue, go to smarttab.com. That's SMARTTAB.com. Schedule a demo. This is a game changer. So I had to interrupt, Joe. Go for it.
No.
Way to cover that one up, Elvis. He blew that one. Jesus Christ.
Dog horse.
This is a funny one to me because the NFL Combine starts on Monday, and whenever you're watching this, it doesn't matter, because when I think of the NFL Combine, I go a lot of different ways. Meaning, I look at it as I go back to the old slave mentality thinking, but it's like it's not only black guys that are at this thing, right? I mean, I'm just telling you guys how I think, dog. I'm just telling you guys how I think. I could be as crazy as it gets, but I'm sharing you what I'm thinking, and I want you guys to, add to it or tell me what you guys think about this combine because we need it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying. I'm just telling you what I think of it, right? Like they line these men up. They want to see how strong, which I think is appropriate. I'm not saying it's not either. You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy what they do there. And then on the flip side, it's like, does that really matter? Because when you look at it statistically, the guys that have come out of the combine, have they really been the biggest producers in all the Hall of Fame wearing jacket guys? So is it that big of a freaking deal anyways?
Well, it is for the players that are from smaller schools. It is for the players that are even, top draft picks, potential top draft picks, to show their arm strength, to show their speed, to show their agility. I think it's a fantastic time. I personally do. But, Derrick, I want to ask you, did you participate?
Of course you do. You like looking at him like that, saying, stand up, jump, boy, do this, do that. You like that.
I sure did. And Joe, I'll slap you later. But the reality of it is that I think that percentage is kind of low of the guys that actually get drafted that actually attend the combine, just so you know. And when I say low, I mean, if they take, 500 kids or 600 kids or whatever, they're not drafting 80 or 90% of the guys from that combine, which tells you there's a problem with the combine. And I think at some point they're going to look at, if they're already looking at it, is they're going to look at maybe getting away from the combine and doing drills that happen around.
No, we got to keep that in the podcast. We got to keep that in, Danny.
Doing something that actually happens during when they can get all the other schools in.
Yeah, right.
The reality of it is that they're missing a lot of kids that come through the combine. Sometimes they're missing the guys that are at the combine. So let's just be honest. I had 12 rounds when I was at the combine. Wasn't drafted. Out of my draft class, though, when I retired, it was just me and a kicker left. So,
are you serious?
And once again, I wasn't drafted. So that tells you that there's something wrong with that combine itself. And now with the way it is now, it's more like a circus, to be honest with you. It was a private ordeal, right? Guys showed up, guys showed out, they did their own thing. Now it's made for TV, right? And they got guys out there, they got Rich Eisen and all these guys running the 40 for charity, which is great. I mean, all that stuff's great, right? But the reality of it is it's not really about the athletes anymore. It's about the NFL and them being able to get money from it, and that's 100%. Fine. It's entertainment, right? That's what it's about. It's about finding ways. The draft itself has become so big and so huge to where it's moving now from city to city.
Why don't they have that at say, in Vegas or at SoFi?
I think it's gonna start moving around, but I think what you're gonna find is you're gonna find combines that are gonna be more so regional done, right? You're gonna have a combine where there's a regional area. All the guys that really want to be in the league come to this area and they do their thing and then they show off and then everybody gets their times and so forth. And then the league just goes from one section to another section to another section and they get it handled that way because that way they can get everybody that wants to be involved. There's a lot of guys that don't want to play.
Yeah, I can see them doing that even with, the different people in the different area, like a Joe Montana in the Bay Area, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like this camp, that camp, creating different ones where they could be able to showcase these players. Derrick, I want to ask you, though, how many players do you think, it's random out of left field, because you were undrafted, you went out there, busted your balls. How many players go out there and it's just the most devastating blow? Like, how hard was it for you when you didn't get drafted after going there?
It was difficult for me to understand why I wasn't drafted. I mean, I was ranked in most applications, like the number 2 guard in the country coming out of SC. So to get looked over, it's like, well, what was the problem? What's the issue? I know a lot of people had problems with my weight and the size. They wanted me to be bigger in weight. Right. I didn't weigh enough.
They want to be
And at
300
the time,
plus, right?
they wanted me to be 300 plus. And I mean, I had never played at 300 plus. I was 265, 270, all the way through college. And so that was what I played at. And fortunately for me, I had a guy, Mr. McPherson, who was the defensive coordinator for the Niners at the time, come down at my tryout after the combine. And he gave me this challenge of like, hey, look, if you can run a 4.8, I'll put you on my defense. I was like, we'll get the contract ready. Right. And so I ran the 4.8 with no problem. Next thing I know, I'm getting a call not from him, but I'm getting a call from McKittrick, Bob McKittrick,
the offensive line coach for the Niners,
yes,
right? Yeah,
they were the best line
right?
coach ever.
Right,
and
Bob McKittrick.
And so he was great, not because of the way that he did with blocking schemes and things like that, but he was great at being able to take guys that nobody wanted and guys that no one saw anything in, and being able to turn those guys into long life NFLers and guys that he gave opportunities to play, because he didn't want big guys. He wanted small guys. He wanted the best athletes.
Fast.
And so he's like, hey, look, give me a number 1 draft pick for O-line. He's like, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Right.
I don't need it. I'll take a guy.
I will
in the
develop
4th round.
these guys.
I'll take a guy as a free agent, and he would develop those guys. And they always used to talk about our offensive line, how it would never be successful and how it wouldn't do this and how it wouldn't do that. Then all of a sudden you win a Super Bowl. Well, then nobody else could do it, and then nobody else want to do that. And then Mike Shanahan leaves and goes to the Broncos, and what does he do? Takes the same type of philosophy there with the smaller and more athletic offensive linemen, and they become successful. And so
2 Super Bowls.
It's a thing where you look at it and say, hey, here, we got things that can happen, and we make things happen. And it's really about finding that one guy who wants that one player. You give that opportunity to a kid that's coming out of college that really wants to play. He's gonna show up. But there's a lot of guys that get drafted early that are bust, and there's you look at by position, right? Quarterback, they're talking about 4 going this year, right? Early
in the top 10,
5
easy.
picks,
Easy.
Top 5 picks, maybe 6.
Right.
So
I can't wait to see Caleb Williams throw. I can't wait to see Mays throw. I can't wait to see Penix. I can't wait to see all these guys throw.
Well, the problem you have, though, is sometimes when you go to the combine, a lot of guys don't throw at the combine, right? They want to throw at their own. They want to throw where they're going to be comfortable.
The other thing, right? And
the other thing you have to look at is like, how many times have you seen quarterbacks go 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, and how many have been very successful and how many haven't?
Right.
Look at the Super Bowl. Right?
You got Brady a couple years ago.
That's what I'm saying. You got look at the Super Bowl, right? You got Mahomes. Boom, he's the man, right? That's great. But then you got the last pick of the draft, and like, how did all these other teams miss that guy? Right? Like, how is that possible?
Draft is a crapshoot. It's a total gamble.
So it's not about really who are the best players out there, because there's a lot of players that don't get the opportunity to play. Let's just be fair. All right. So when you say like you have to have like a little bit of luck on your side, you have to be good, and you have to have the right timing. All those things have to come into effect just for you to be able to get your opportunity to play in that league.
Elvis, I got to go back to Derrick real quick and ask about this offensive line coach that you say is the best ever. And I obviously, you guys got some championships and Super Bowls and this and that, to be undrafted out of USC. I mean, of course, Division I, that's as big as it gets. But like, what do you think that he taught you that you could articulate to us that says, wow, this guy took me from being, a good offensive lineman in college, D1, top draft pick that should have been, to a fucking Super Bowl champion?
Well, the things that he taught me, or he taught me how to use the leverage that I had and the things that I had. So I didn't have to overpower anyone. Now, remember, I was trying to gain weight when I got there, right? So coming there as a free agent and for the first mini camp, I was like 290 something, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I couldn't move, I couldn't run. I was sitting around just trying to eat to get big,
300,
look like Big Joe at the time. And and so
he was a big one. He was 350.
Right, but the thing is like he said, hey, look, you can play at your college weight. And I was like, what? And so I left, and we had another mini camp coming 2 weeks later, came back at 270. And from that point on, weight didn't matter to me at that point. No. He didn't care. So once he didn't care, it allowed me to focus on, okay, what techniques is he going to teach me?
Footwork.
What things is he going to teach me that's going to make me have an advantage over some of these other guys, which I remind you, I'm coming from USC, so I'm not playing against teams that aren't good, right? I'm playing
that's
in
what I mean.
We're in the middle of it all.
At USC,
and so, but now you're playing against grown men, guys that have been in the league 5-6 years,
the best on the planet,
guys that are, strong and so forth. And so, you got to have some things to be able to do, and some things that allow you to do it. And the way that he had blocking techniques that he taught us, the way that he trained us, the way that he put us on the Ray Crowler, which a lot of people don't know about, is a type of a sled. It's a 2-man sled, and you don't use 2 men. He taught us to hit it with one guy, and how to be able to make that sled not go in a circle. So you had to have a base, and you had to stay low, and you had to fire into it. And if you didn't fire right, it would knock you on your butt. Things like that. And so when you're looking at going into that Super Bowl, 3 years later, and you're playing against the first tandem of 350 plus D tackles, and you're wearing 269 at guard.
And you were a guard.
There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about at that point, because you're ready. You understand what you got to do.
You're trained up.
You're in better shape. We're gonna outrun you. Those kind of things were the things that he was like, look, we're going to outlast these guys. They might be strong in the beginning. We just got to hold on. All right. We just got to hold on a little bit in the beginning of the game. And I promise you, they're going to start tapping out, because they're not going to be able to keep up with you. And that's exactly what it was. And so he gives you a little bit of confidence that you need from your own coach, and then you just take it from there.
Right. I love it. It's so great that you actually right into the league. You got it. You were developed by the best in the league, and that was amazing, and it was all about, back then, and I remember this, that it was all about, being light and having speed like that. That was the amazing thing about it. And then, of course, it's such a copycat league. Like you said, you would then see like Denver and all these other teams go to that and get away from the 350-pound behemoths, which, now they're fast and they are 350, right?
Yeah. Now you get both. And so it's amazing to see the development of how the league has changed with that. But it's also something where and don't forget going to the right organization, right? Yes. You have to have the right coach. You have to have the right organization. You have to have the luck going with you. You have to have some talent going with you, and you have to have the right timing. And that's exactly what happened with me, because if I don't have the right timing, remember, I'm a free agent. I don't make that team.
With the combine, I actually, it's kind of my New Year's Eve, Christmas type of thing up until the draft. And I like watching, the speed. I like watching the throws and all that. Coming up here, of course, is the draft, and there are a lot of free agents out there. Who do you see? I mean, there's some big names as far as running backs, which is a devalued position in the NFL. You've got Saquon Barkley. You've got Josh Jacobs. You've got Derrick Henry is a free agent. Do you see any teams going, hey, we need a great running back, Derrick, and we need somebody who can carry that load? Because now everybody's going toward, we need you to catch the ball as well. Is Derrick Henry kind of a thing of the past? Or is there a team that's going to say, no, we want that guy. We want that steamroller that's going to go through the line, play between the tackles, and knock the crap out of everybody?
I think to me, I think that team would be someone like the Chargers. If you looked at what their offensive coordinator, who's Greg Olson, came out and said, he's like, hey, look, we want to be able to run the ball. That's how we're going to make Justin Herbert the best quarterback around.
And they're going to build from the trenches in the draft too. That's Harbaugh.
Build from the trenches, and so they need a running back that can pound. They're not looking for a running back that really can catch out of the backfield. They're looking for a running back that can take it and take a beating. And here's the thing: I don't know how many more years Derrick Henry can take the beating that he's taken. So if he's a guy, he's a stopgap guy, right? He's a guy that they bring in for a couple of years to get it working. And to see how this is going to work with Justin, allowing them to have just a straight, pure run game with power game and being able to go between the tackles, a guy that can hit it and doesn't care, and he's a big guy to bring down. And then you got Justin, who can now open up and be himself and be able to throw and get outside the pocket if he has to. So I think there's a place for that.
Chargers are interesting, the fact that now you've got Harbaugh and you've got the general manager coming over from the Baltimore Ravens, which – I'm sorry, they are a great organization. They're run well. They're like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now they're going to, like you said, and I said, they're going to build from the trenches, but they've already got a pretty good offensive line. A couple of years ago, Zion Johnson, they got Slater. They've got a couple good pieces there. I think they need to either go with Brock Bowers at tight end. Give Justin Herbert another weapon, and or that Malik Neighbors or a good
I think the tight end is the key for every team. Every team needs a strong tight end because they can break down on the tackle and just make more options for the running back.
Well, Brock
I
Bowers
just think the tight end is the key player on every team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, the problem when you're finding with tight ends, though, nowadays is that there's two types of tight ends, right? You got the tight ends that are, Kelsey and Kittle, right? Or you got the tight ends
wide
that
receivers,
like Pitts. Pitts is not a guy you can put in the trenches and think he's going to block anybody. He's going to
got to have him out wide, there. And you got to have him out wide.
You got to bring him out wide, and so he's really just a bigger receiver type guy, with some speed, but he's running just as fast as those receivers are. So it just depends how you use your tight end and how many you bring in, right? And how many you want to run. Detroit runs with 4 or 5 tight ends. So
Joe hasn't had a tight end in decades. He really hasn't.
You know what? Speaking of tight ends, though, I want to go from the grass to the hardwood as we want to wrap this up in about 30 minutes, you guys. NFL to NBA. I mean, I don't know if you guys watch the All-Star everything. There was only one thing that was good about that nowadays, and that's the 3-point contest and getting with Steph battling her. That was a great draw, and it got my attention.
It's become a joke.
Other than that, Adam Silver needs to do something because 211 to 186. I don't know about you guys, and I don't know if you ever did it, but I used to go to All-Star games, and I've been to Philly, I've been to LA, I've been. To me, I'm like, dog, I was in Will Smith's spot in Philly, with Death Row, my point is, it was something to do. I am name dropping because it was something to do. And, I should have worn my Death Row chain right now. But that all being said, it was an event, dog. And I don't feel it. I don't feel people talking about it I know the Freaknik is not happening no more neither. But damn, at least that's canceled. The NBA All-Star going down still.
Look at the dunk contest. It's become basically a joke because no superstars want to do it because all the dunks have basically been done, and now it's all these tricks. You know what I'm saying?
I like the tricks. So that little kid dog that came out there, that boy's lighting it up.
Done, man.
No, that kid is jumping out the building.
I turn it on and I can't last.
You just don't like white guys that dunk, dude. You never like white dudes.
That's insane. McClurg is great. He's great, but he's in the G League. He's in the G League.
Here's the problem you have with the All-Star games, and you guys have already seen it happen in the NFL. Yeah, the Pro Bowl has gone from being a thing that guys idolize to now playing flag football. Yeah, seriously, what are we talking? Really?
I know
it's a joke,
really
and so
but it's all
basketball's
money.
the same thing. Guys don't want to play in it if they're going to have any chance of getting hurt. It's another game. They want the money. That's all they really want from it. They want the notoriety, but they don't really want to give you a game that means anything. Now, if you want to take these games and you want to start making something about it, I guarantee you it's going to change some things up. If you start making it like, hey, an AFC team is going to get the Super Bowl the next 3 years or whatever, then all of a sudden now these teams are going to start playing. If you're going to say, hey, if the NFC wins, the next Super Bowl that's supposed to go up, it goes to an NFC team. Maybe the MVP of that team or so forth or whatever, it goes to his team or however it is. It's going to start. You got to start making something happen for that. That's going to cost where these owners have to make these players actually play.
We all grew up watching a challenging game at the highest level. I remember watching these going, oh my God, look who's going to play against each other. Ooh, dude, it was
superstars.
And they wanted to see what you had on the NBA and in the NFL and in the NHL. Let's just call it what it is, dog. It used to be everyone used to want to show
hockey sucks
and see, but I'm just saying it was and used to be, and now it's not. I mean, all around. Part of me thinks, Derrick, as a former professional athlete, I was never, but part of me thinks, I hate to say it, I kind of get it, right? You're making all that money. Why would you want to hurt yourself potentially if you're making that much money? So my point is, I kind of get it, but yet my fandom goes,
time to scrap.
Damn it. I don't know. I can see
but
it.
You have a couple of things. You have a couple of things you can do with this, and I've always believed that. Yeah, the Pro Bowl is important. The All-Star game is important, right? But maybe we don't do that in the middle anymore. Maybe you still give them that week off, but it's just a week minus basketball. Maybe it's a week of, these guys doing charity things, playing maybe a charity golf tournament or something like that.
Get healthy.
Getting healthy, right? But they usually allow those guys to do whatever they want, and then you run the All-Star game at the very end, right?
I agree, 100%.
And you run it for a big purse, right? Imagine you put that purse up till they be like $3 million split between all those players, the ones that win. So it's $3 million or nothing. Guess who's going to play?
Make it mean something.
$3 million versus $1 million.
Well said, Deese. That was well said. I like that.
Now all of a sudden you got some things going on. Football, the same thing, right? Because it's the end of the season. If you do get hurt, you have a whole year to get back.
Agreed.
I think those are the things you have to start looking at to make that All-Star game, those All-Star games actually start meaning something again.
I still like the baseball All-Star game because that home run derby is still dope. I still love that home run derby. You know what I'm saying?
And not only that,
baseball, I can't watch baseball on TV, but I will watch the home run derby. That's what I'll watch.
Well, you like to see balls get hit.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I like him.
Yeah, you've always ever since your Uncle Bobby did that one thing to you. Yeah, I remember.
You don't know my Uncle Bobby. I'm sorry, Uncle Bobby.
Everybody does, and he made you squeal like a pig behind the barn.
Hey, you guys, but
exactly.
Hold on,
you got a pretty mouth.
Do you guys think the Celtics are going to take it all? Because right now, let's just talk about it. There's one team worthy of talking about, and it's the Celtics. I know they're the top seed and they're worthy of it.
Milwaukee fired their coach. But yeah.
Are they going to just take it all? Is it like, let's just, this team can do that? Lakers, they're not.
They need to validate that they're great.
Hopefully not.
If you're a Laker fan, you can never really hope.
Exactly. So why would you say that?
At all. But
why would you say that?
Yeah, no, I don't. For Jason Tatum, I'd like to see them do well. But as a lifelong Laker fan since I was a little kid, you can't wish the Boston Celtics anything, even though it's a completely different team. Those were the greatest finals between the Lakers and Celtics of all time in the 80s and 90s. Those were the greatest finals of all time.
I like them as well.
Superstars.
I mean,
I won't wish them well, and I'm not going to wish the Clippers well either. They can all go down.
I can't really.
The Clippers, I agree. They should, and the fact that they're building a goddamn stadium right there where the Forum is makes me even more angry.
Yeah, get out. It's just like those. What are they called? The Cowgirls or whatever. The team in that.
Oh,
in that
here we go.
there.
Representing, baby.
They get to the playoffs, and every time they choke. Yeah, whoa, go. We're making a name for ourselves. We get to the playoffs where it really counts.
I'm not going to bite Clippers, but I'll tell you right now, the Warriors, with what they're doing with bringing Clay off the bench, by doing a change like that is amazing. And you just got to admire this little switcheroo of going, a potential, I think he's a Hall of Famer, right? And he's still worthy of starting on most teams. Klay Thompson. To bring Clay off the bench?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
For the Warriors, it's a brilliant move that they're doing right now.
It is time to blow it up after this season.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm talking, Jeannie, step aside and bring in a president of basketball operations. Let them bring in a real GM. Pelinka's a joke. He was Kobe's agent. That's the only reason he got the job. Right. Darvin Ham, great player, but not a head coach in the league. And it's time to let LeBron go to a team that he can win. AD, trade him for as much as you can get because he's still a great player when he wants to play. And the rest of the players are just they have to build that young core again is what they need to do, like they had before LeBron came
but they let the core go, though. They let the core go. They were trading out piece after piece. Right, they traded away piece after piece after piece.
Julius Randle, they traded away Brandon Ingram. They put Lonzo sucks.
And then they took Lonzo instead of taking
Tatum. Yeah. Well, thank you, Magic. But that's another reason that Jeannie Buss and her brothers are terrible owners because it was all emotional by bringing Magic. And Magic's my favorite player of all time. Don't get me wrong. He's my favorite player of all time. No, but to bring him back just because it's emotional and it's this and that, it's time to.
But look at what the Lakers have done, you guys. Let's just look at this. Hold on. You said some names. You've said Magic Johnson. Then you think of Kobe Bryant. You think of Shaquille O'Neal. You think of them bringing the Spaniard. You think of then, oh no, nothing's going to happen. And then LeBron James comes. I mean, it is the Lakers, dog. And let's not turn our eye to what they've done since the Buss family has come. You know what I mean? I mean, the Buss family's come. This is what they've done. What I said were facts. Not like, I wonder what
they've done. But you skipped. and you skipped over probably another 50 players, but whatever.
Yeah. But
exactly. Norm Nixon. You go back to Kareem.
It is LA. If you want to play in LA, there's no reason why people don't want to play in LA. Everybody wants to play in LA, and everybody wants to be part of a tradition and have a culture from like the Lakers to deal with and understand that, and they want to win. It's not over. It's just that they're in a slump right now, and they got to find what's the next phase they go to. That's all.
They've got to build that young core. They got to build that young core. No,
they don't have to build the core. They can. There's a lot of free agents they can bring to that team to play.
I agree, but you've got to have some younger players that you build from, and then you add the free agents to those. That's just my opinion.
You're not. The Lakers are not going to sit by and just watch a year go by of building young players and watch them maybe have the worst record in the league. No, they did it before, and they imploded the coach and everybody else inside.
All I know is this current Laker team is not a championship team. They're going to probably go into. If they make the playoffs, they'll probably win a first round because they are the Lakers in the playoffs. But I don't see this is not a championship team.
I'll tell you what.
I like Oklahoma City better.
Look. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll say to you. If they make it, they have a chance, and that's all that matters. Because there's two guys on that team that can make. There's two guys that can make that thing go where they want it to go.
AD and LeBron, right?
And so I don't want to hear they're not a championship team. The only way you're going to say that is when you say they've been eliminated because the numbers don't allow them to get in.
Hey, let me before we get going here, let me mention, as you guys know,
Doghouse Comedy Jam.
Our friend and our partner JV passed away. I'll always call him Jeff. He passed away a year ago.
Don't call me
Wild
Jeff.
94.9.
I used to love that.
Yeah, I can do it. Don't call me Dan. But so he passed away, and they're throwing a comedy jam to honor him and to benefit the Bay Area Lyme Foundation, which is a great organization. It's coming up March 1st. It's coming up this Friday, people. Get your tickets. Go to Ticketmaster.com. It's going to be very emotional, but I guarantee this, and I've said this before, he wants everybody laughing. That I know. And so let's honor him the right way. They're going to do, I guess, Joe, we're going to be, they're going to do a Doghouse JV tribute and things like that. So,
really?
Get your tickets now. And be
so, are you going to get on stage and have somebody like again or hear or something? Maybe
I don't.
Since they're going to do
Gary Spivey. Oh, that was a nightmare. Derrick. So 2003 or 2004, JV had been doing some drugs, and he brought up a psychic and a blind girl, and it was like everybody, and then it's a comedy fucking jam. It's a comedy concert, and he brings them on. Let's all will this girl to see again. And it was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on here? And then afterwards, Carlos Mencia came out in the same white wig that Gary Spivey had. And I went backstage and I went to the green room where JV and all those people were. And it was like, oh man, I go, guys, that was bad. That was friggin' bad.
You guys are terrible, man. You guys,
I know.
Dude, and I died.
Listen, if you people were there in 2004, you know it was bad.
Hey, you guys are going to hell.
Well, no
That's
kidding.
a given, aren't we all? Come on.
Get in line.
No.
So get your tickets to the Comedy Jam at Ticketmaster.com is all I want to say. JV, we miss you, buddy, and we'll always be here for your family. I've been in constant contact with them as well. And it's just going to be a great night. So Wild 94.9 Comedy Jam to honor JV and to benefit the Bay Area Lyme Foundation. Go to Ticketmaster.com to get your tickets. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.